one match left to close out our Friday here at the Heroes Global Championship, and it's going to be between B-Step and Naventic. But before we get to that, Gale Force Esports in our last match getting a 3-0 victory over No Tomorrow's gotta feel good, Dread. But I wanted to ask you, we talked to Michael about it, how do you think Gale Force Esports is going to do after seeing all of their performance, their improvement at the Western Clash?
I want to say that I feel like they'll do very, very well. I think every North American team is going to struggle with the top two of Europe. It's literally that third slot that I can see kind of moving a little bit in any direction. So I would say, at best, right now, with their performance today, I would say putting them at third.
Well, let's check out the North America HGC standings and see where exactly Gale Force Esports are after that victory, and you'll find it's right in the same place. As I said, the seeding comes down to how teams, all of the top 3 teams in North America, do with their final match here this weekend. So Gale Force Esports wins theirs. It now comes down to how Team 8 and Tempo Storm do in theirs. We're going to move down to B-Step versus Team Naventic. Team Naventic are just one up above No Tomorrow, but it comes down to how this series versus B-Step goes. Dread, initial thoughts on this match versus or with players who have fought each other quite often in the past?
I think it's going to be the moment where I think because of the people they're playing against, I can see Naventic kind of just turning it on and playing very, very well, very different than we've seen in the past weeks. At the same time, I'm a guy who often looks at patterns that we see in the past. I do see this heavily just still being a momentum of Naventic kind of moving downward, whereas we see B-Step rising. So I think B-Step will be able to pull out.
Well, since these players do know each other and have a lot of history with each other, let's hear what they have to say about their matchup versus each other.
B-Step, yeah, I think B-Step is, they have the core of iDream, CAF, and K1 Pro. That's a very strong core. That those 3, if they're together, that team is going to be strong. It doesn't matter who their 4th and 5th is, in my opinion. So I think they will definitely be one of the top 4 teams in NA, and they'll be a tough opponent for sure.
I really like a lot of players on their team. I go really far back with Zuna, and I think he's a really strong player, maybe even the best player in North America. So anytime I get a matchup against him and I'm able to beat him, it always feels really good.
I think that they're a really strong team. It's just that they don't play as much, or they're not as hardworking as probably the other teams. But I do think they're all 5 of them are solid players and they can do well. So it just depends how much they can actually play. I'll say a duo better than King Caffeine and K1 is me and anyone else.
I mean, the key to beating Naventic, and this is something that everyone knows, is just to tilt someone. It doesn't have to be anyone in particular, but if you tilt any player on Naventic, they'll just immediately shut down. Being an ex-teammate of them, it was like, I can't do anything, this game's unwinnable, and you just shut down and give up. So I think playing against Naventic, tilt one of the brothers, and it's a free win.
So, yeah.
Tilt one of the brothers. That's the solution on the side of McIntyre.
I wonder if we will see B-Step fully go for that, or if they're going to go more and just continue with the improvement that they have been showing, because for them, they have shown market improvement. They've started to come together. McIntyre mentioned it in their interviews, but we have not seen that same spark from Naventic yet.
I think it would be more focused on the side of their improvement themselves. Maybe not even just because necessarily they view it as it would be a safer route or a better one to go. But with the performance that Naventic had, if the tilt is the strategy, they feel like, you know, it already is. So why mess with it? Just let it keep happening. Keep doing your own thing.
That might be a viable strategy. We'll see as we start to get into the draft as well as the game. But we're starting with the Battleground pool for HGC. So we're going to move into the bans and see which team or which maps the teams don't want to play. B-Step's going to ban Braxis Holdout while Naventic bans Warhead Junction. And then B-Step gets the first Battleground pick. So they're choosing Cursed Hollow.
Cursed Hollow is the choice. Interesting map choice. I think it would. This one will be a weird one, just because, again, we know Naventic, macro just doesn't exist for them for the most part when it comes to overall philosophy and ways they want to play the game. So it is a map where you can get away without macroing your opponents. It's not easy to do on this map, but it is one that we could see. I do feel like it's going to be a bit of a bloodbath, though. Now, knowing these two teams,
I agree.
On Cursed Hollow, it really feels like it's just going to be tributes up. Everybody go. We don't care about Soak. We don't care about the giant split pushing. We're worried about getting the kills.
As we see in the keys to the series, since this is Cursed Hollow, we're expecting B-Step to try to deny Naventic some globals, especially because the one way that Naventic has been able to mitigate that fear of split soaking is to use a global here and there. Maybe it's Dahaka that Tomster plays or something else. So B-Step still going to stick with the Tassadar ban here that we see so prominent in NA and Europe. Team Naventic, though, banned Zeratul versus iDream.
Yeah, this is going to be... Oh, man, this draft is going to be an interesting one. Tassadar is going to be hovered, but the global soak is... I think it's the only way I see Naventic catching up into this series, specifically just purely based on it is so forgiving with their biggest weakness by having a global onto the map. And I'm sure that they have the patience when it comes to initiating to be able to wait until the rotation out of that global. That being said, I don't know if B-Step will put hyper focus into it, to be honest. Maybe one, but to truly, you know, play the global choke game, I think is going to be unrealistic for their draft.
I like the Zeratul ban from Team Naventic too, since B-Step have been not only playing Zeratul a lot, but when you have K1 Pro to be the Jaina to follow up a Zeratul,
yeah,
that is a nightmare situation. But Naventic does get to be in that spot of being able to ban whatever they don't want to deal with B-Step because they are in that first pick spot. Now, what do Naventic first pick here on Cursed Hollow?
I mean, Malf was what we've only seen one game out of Naventic so far onto Cursed Hollow, and it was the Malf was their first pick overall. So maybe that's going to be what we see the move in with here.
That was a while back
Yeah,
too. Their series versus Tempo was their first series.
Yeah.
So there's not really a lot of data for us to know off of, for B-Step to know how Naventic's going to draft here. So again, an interesting battleground choice for B-Step to choose, given the fact that there isn't a lot to study. Naventic first picked Falstad.
Well, it not only do I think Falstad needs to be higher priority across all of North America, it gave Naventic the global to be able to make up for their weaknesses, which is going to make the game a lot more difficult on the side of B-Step.
What about B-Step though? They've played a little bit more Malfurion Dahaka, so responding with a global of their own.
Are we Europe now? Dahaka and Falstad were picked in the first half of a draft. That is very rare in North America. Like insanely rare. I don't think it's happened once in all of North America.
Today.
Yeah, this is awesome to see this. So we have the Malf and we have the Dahaka for B-Step. Now, where does Naventic go with Zeratul off the table? My first thought is going to be Li Ming, but now that they have the Falstad, I would expect them to pull a little bit away from that direction.
I want them to pick their warrior here because of B-Kid.
He does seem to be a lot more vulnerable to, you know, kind of the warrior choke. So there's going to be the variant locked in. So, I mean, they can do anything. If they're worried about the support choke, maybe a Rhaegar comes out this early on. Or if it's going to be a backline, where do I think they'll go with this here? It's got to be maybe even a Medivh in this rotation. I know that sounds really weird, but I mean, at this point, they've obviously made huge adjustments. It's going to be the Ragnaros. So now B-Step here into the ban. What do we want to see from them?
Support would be the easiest for B-Step to look at, especially if they are, again, trying to check out the brothers, see if they're tiltable. Kenma is the support player for Team Naventic.
Yeah,
but otherwise, a backliner.
Yeah, it is a weird one. I think the backline focus would be the safest route to go for B-Step. The supporting, there isn't... Like, if you remove the Rhaegar, then you just move into others like the Karzim, which would probably be 7-sided strike, and into the composition that Naventic has, that would be quite successful. Whereas the backliners and giving lack of follow-up to Varian, or if picking a backliner, it just puts it in a position where you can make it less meta around the map specifically. Oh, man.
So B-Step probably... Ooh. Oh, no, they have Malf, so it's not even that they're... Oh.
Okay, so they're afraid of the Karzim follow-up. Man, that's a... Maybe... Okay, we'll see if B-Step moves into Toronto, because the Karzim seems weird. It's a good ban if you're trying to rid of Palm, but not of 7-sided.
Right, you would think if they're trying to get rid of Clint, which B-Step have before,
yeah,
they'd get rid of somebody else.
Yeah, it's... I don't know where this leads, but that is a very off ban for them. That usually means that this next rotation is going to be something really different. And in fact, it is going to be Sergeant Hammer and Zarya, probably the two toughest gals that we have in all of Heroes of the Storm in one rotation.
Strongest woman in Russia, right?
I don't actually know her theme, but that sounds about right. I know she's scary when she flexes.
Are they going to triple Warrior Hammer?
Ooh.
I think they are.
What's the third one? What's the third warrior you go with in this situation? And then what does Team Naventic do
It
to
would
be able
be
to
Calf.
respond?
So Muradin?
Yeah, Muradin would be a solid one. Leoric is an option. Maybe a little bit less appealing than some of the other warriors. That man.
But Tychus is still available. But if they're banning Karazim for 7-sided strike instead.
That could be. I would not ban Karazim's 7-sided strike because I have triple warrior. If anything, I would pray to the heavens you pick 7-sided strike, you hit all three of us, you take 0% of our damage, and then we go, that's a free Karazim kill. Thanks, guys. Overall, there's the Li Ming pick. So the follow-up to the variant is going to exist. Very scary now for B-Step into the draft, and Brightwing is going to be locked in here. The Brightwing pick is very... Oh, man, I got a lot to say about the Brightwing pick here. Hold on, I want to look at B-Step's draft first, but the last pick, Brightwing, when Rhaegar still available, is... Ooh, this is going to really hurt Naventic. They have to play very efficiently if they're going to be successful with this composition.
Statistically, it is one of the better heroes for Naventic.
Brightwing?
Yes.
Yeah, just across the win rate.
Yeah. Last pick for B-Step. Do we get triple warrior here, or is it King Caffeine playing Dahaka, and that's going to be the primary warrior, something that is so rarely seen. But it is King Caffeine, and he makes things like Solo Warrior Leo a thing because of just his skill.
I wouldn't mind a Thrall. It's going to be a Tyrael. Tyrael, probably, in my opinion, the best out of the three warriors they could have selected, because the only way things get really hairy is obviously going to be around bosses or with Hammer. He, in fact, is going to ensure that neither one of those are a fear here. So the solos with the globals, man, the Hammer laying around the map, there is no three-man, not a single trio that is good on the side of Naventic. The early part of this game should be, honestly, almost an entire level lead before 10 on the side of B-Step when it comes to the draft. Just the Hammer. The Hammer factor, the Warriors, and there's no good solo on the side of Naventic or three-man to be able to not only match it or just punish elsewhere. They don't even have counter siege, right? Where it's like, oh, we lost the Hammer, let's pick Sylve and go elsewhere. They don't even have that. There's very little to make happen pre-10 on the side of Naventic unless it's killing over a curse, which the Hammer should not be considering too heavily. So I really think that B-Step has a huge step forward, at least 1 through 10 on this draft.
Let's talk Brightwing and even more Team Naventic's global capacity, because they do have 2 globals, but Brightwing is a solo support Brightwing.
Yeah.
She has no help from Zarya or Topstar, anybody, Medivh even, who can supplement with reducing some of the damage that B-Step put out. But B-Step at the same time, it's triple warrior, right? So wouldn't that be reduced at all?
It's not really. The crowd control is going to be way too serious. It's pretty much Varian's going to go in, Teleport's going to come in at the same time, and if they do not get that kill, there's 0 chance of winning that fight until the next taunt rotation. It's just unrealistic. Hammer is going to have way too much damage. They have way too many safety tools. The 3 warriors that they pick, all of them are on the upper end of, you know, maybe damage out of warriors, minus I think the only one that would be like Leoric and maybe Arthas. But all 3 of them, very, very good overall. So killing the Hammer is going to be a very hard task, and Brightwing only makes it to where it's more committed to when Varian goes, they have to get a kill. Rather than any other support could kind of sustain and deal with the situation and then look to reinitiate again with that combo. It's now Brightwing, Varian, when they go in, they have to get a kill. That is just the end of it.
And I look at the draft of Team Naventic and I say, okay, well, they have Ragnaros, so they have this possibility of being able to Molten Core, buy some time for damage for Sergeant Hammer, but then I remember Gale Force Esports versus Tempo Storm, where Tempo had Ragnaros as well, and it did not matter for Fan at all. Do you think we're going to see the same thing when it comes to Resistant at level 1 for Hammer?
Yeah, it makes the most sense into a Varian. It's the safest route to run across the board when it comes to level 1s. It's just way too easy to get value out of. It makes you very safe, so I think that would be the smartest choice when it comes to level 1. And the early... I can't put enough emphasis on the early game because I can see B-Step playing the passive, and if they play the early game passive, I can very much see Naventic just getting that one pick and snowballing the game into their favor until we get this weird 20-on-20 who's got better boss control dance. I love B-Step's draft compared to Naventic's, but there is a small window still.
Well, we are ready for game number 1 in this best of 5 between Team Naventic and B-Step. We'll see you in Cursed Hollow.
So here we are. On the blue side is going to be B-Step here with their improvements from last week, looking to continue it there. 8 p.m. in fact is going to be on Malfurion. King Caffeine is going to be playing Tyrael. K1 Pro onto the Zarya. iDream on to the Sergeant Hammer, and McIntyre on to Hawk.
A little bit of a switch of some of the heroes we might see.
Yeah.
But over for Team Naventic in the red, Kenma will be playing Brightwing, B-Kid on Varian, Zuna playing the Ragnaros, playing Falstad will be Big Impact, and finally Tomster will be playing Li Ming.
Still yet to see Sergeant Hammer's level 1. Same with Falstad. Falstad makes the most sense to go. Actually, he's gonna go.
Advanced
he's not gonna go with it.
artillery.
All right, we'll see if it works. You know, it's just gonna mean the positioning has to be, you know, absolutely on point here. For Sergeant Hammer, if they're gonna be able to gain value out of it. Everything else when it comes to the level 1s, Brightwing moving into the queue, not rare, not popular either. It's gonna buy time for Pope.
It's a 4-man in the bottom for now, up against Ragnaros. McIntyre sees it. Do we get a drag? The team very happy just to be able to clear out these minions and start the siege on the towers as iDream's doing. And there's the shielding, and remember, as long as K1 Pro keeps shielding up iDream and keeps his energy high the way it is, then he can put out a lot of damage along with iDream there.
Yeah, his damage output just almost gets increased exponentially. It's ridiculous what that hero is going to be able to do. But for now, not too much pressure applied when it comes to the 3-man, excuse me, onto the bottom half of the map. The rest of the 1v1s, Dahaka should be very comfortable in that 1v1 on top versus the Varian. Just wave clear all day. Tyrael is just kind of a placeholder. Speaking of that, though, Falstad is going to be flying down here into the bottom. iDream there ends up going down. Good job from Big Impact. No counter kill onto Kemba either. 8 p.m. now going to be the focus. They get it, but it costs a life. Now K1 Pro is going to sit there and auto. One nade. Not going to throw it out there. Zuna survives for now. Back nade, though. Oh, man. Zuna, their shield's going to be popped, so still gaining the energy. Now K1 Pro has to back out.
Looking at some of the talents for Team Naventic, very interesting one for Brightwing, getting Dream Shot to have Arcane flare up more often.
Yeah.
But in this instance, you know you're going to hit the center and be able to get the 3-second cooldown reduction on it because Sergeant Hammer's sieging. So it's almost like, are you going to stay here? Because if so, I get far more damage that I can put out as a Brightwing. But it does give up things like Hyper Shift and even Unfurling Spray, which we normally see from Kenma.
Yeah, I actually think that level 1 talent on Cursed Hollow I personally just adore unless I do well into the 1v1 matchup on the global side of the map. Which is almost never, to be honest. It's usually when there's a lack of global when I move elsewhere. But this allows Falstad to get to the side soak with the Seasoned Marksman, committing Brightwing, and then increasing her delay potential like a large amount. That's only going to force more problematic rotations on the side of B-Step with this Sergeant Hammer early game composition. Speaking of this early game Sergeant Hammer composition, they are yet to even get a front wall. So overly patient play so far coming out from them.
Should be noted too that along with Dream Shot, Arcane Barrage, so just adding to what you were talking about, Dread, where it's even easier for you as Brightwing to be able to delay talent pickups.
She actually can do a lot of damage too. She hits the center after the first one, and the second one even hits you at all. For most squishies, that's quite a bit of their HP.
Molten Core used on the side of Team Naventic. B-Step using Tyrael get the first tribute of the game. But the story is still here in the bottom lane where still no front wall down. Zuna doing a lot to be able to stave off the aggression as well as the damage, not only from Kenma with that Brightwing build, but as you can see, Tomster on Li Ming too. Falstad plays in.
He doesn't have the damage this time, though, to be able to get the kill. He does have barrel still available. K1 Pro is going to be fine to back out. Tribute now spawning on the opposite side of the map, though. All right, so this is a weird position where B-Step has to decide what they want to be committing to the objective. Personally, I think just keeping this 3-man down below, which is going to be the route that they take, and then Tyrael move up there. Naventic, ooh, Kenma getting rooted. Not going to net a kill, though. But this is a good moment, a very good moment. With the rotation committed from Falstad and then keeping this 3-man on bottom is a huge moment now for B-Step in this game.
This is more of a commitment for Naventic, so they want to get a kill off of this. Calf dives over just in time. Biggie will follow him with the barrel roll. Hammering gets the kill on Tyrael. So a nice kill for Team Naventic, getting their own tribute. But Brightwing wasn't in the bottom during this time, and as we can see, it finally did allow B-Step to take down the front wall.
Yeah, now that the front wall is down, it's unrealistic they're ever going to be able to attain that fort. I mean, we saw it took 4 minutes to get a front wall. So Hammer instantly rotating out. Smart play. Rotations here. Now are they going to commit the trio to mid rather than the opposite? We'll see Matt gets a tongue. It's going to hit right onto Kenma as he's going to go down. Very well done. Good rotations on the side of B-Step so far. And now Hammer's going to have a heyday on yet another front wall.
Joined once again by APM and K1 Pro to keep iDream as healthy as possible. Team Naventic moving into position to respond to these rotations from B-Step, but taking a little while to do so, and that already takes down one of the towers in mid, starting to give B-Step the advantage in experience.
This is a weird scenario. The lack of, Naventic's doing a good job with the rotation on the side of, with Zuna specifically to get the clear. Oh, BK moving in. Ends up getting
Ollie?
Holly's going to be there. Root as well lands for the peel. Tribute's going to be up. So huge moment here for B-Step still with the experience advantage that they have. What are they going to do when it comes to rotations? Looks like this is going to be a channel here. Nobody... Oh, Pika's going to have the delay.
This is hard for Naventic because this is not a great spot to siege, but at the same time, the B-Step's well on their way to heroic abilities. So Naventic don't want to give this up per se, but they also don't want to lose people trying to move around the rocks. They're just stalling as long as they can. They're not soaking anywhere really except for where they can in mid. Another orb. Every time they send out damage though, somebody from B-Step gets chunked. Yeah,
there's going to be the initiation. Great root coming out from APM, completely stopping any momentum on the side of Naventic into the fight, but King Caffeine overextending a little bit there. Took a lot of damage. Speaking of damage though, K1 Pro with that feeling that he is just flat out dishing it out this game. I mean, he isn't afraid of anyone or anything at this point in time. And enough poke and experience gained. Naventic scared of level 10. They're going to back out. 2 tributes here now for B-Step, only 1 for Naventic.
Did Naventic buy enough time to get heroic abilities before the next one?
They did. They bought more than enough. They are in a perfect position to be able to make up for the lost experience early on and the lack of pressure on the side of B-Step. You know, it hasn't been nearly as severe as I was hoping, at least, it to be so far.
So I was really hoping that Sergeant Hammer, we would see another BFG. After, I think it was crazy moving, one of the Korean teams busted it out. But that's not the case. Napalm Strike is the choice. Biggie now sees all of the members of B-Step rotating in. Heroic abilities here now for Naventic. Nothing out of the ordinary for either team.
All right, Tribute Curse potential is now available for B-Step as McIntyre on the Dahaka looking to clear onto the side lanes. Heroic choices are exactly what we would expect from these teams. There's going to be buying time through the Molten Core.
Brightwing sieging in the bottom for as long as she can.
Yeah.
Put some damage on the towers. Here she comes in.
See if they look to fight into this point. King Caffeine, not going to need to delay. Good napalm over the wall. Now it's going to be up to Calf to get it. There it is. Taunt combo not used yet.
Drag.
Cleanse is going to be dropped.
APM takes some damage, moves back. B-Step still trying to move into a better positioning around this tribute, but keep an eye on McIntyre. He can get in with a good drag, pull somebody in.
Oh, this is where they go. Look at Mac on the flank, actually missing the drag there. K1 Pro getting a trade into Falstad. There's going to be another attempt there. No taunt used yet. B-Kid with the patience here into this game. Not even getting sanctification. There it goes. It's going to be the combo used. The follow-up stun. Expulsion zone's going to be dropped. Material is already dead.
But he's chasing down, seeing if he can put the damage on to get a kill. McIntyre has been going after Brightwing. Counter kill on Brightwing.
Drags up. Nope, not going to be up yet. So Zuna escapes with his life. Twilight Dream actually is going to be used there. APM ends up going down, not able to get a kill for his team yet. Bottom 4 fell. In the meantime, Giants absolutely doing work here for Naventic down below.
Oh, B-Kid turns around. He will go down. Buys time for Big Impact to get away, though. Taunt on McIntyre. Biggie gets out, goes to tap. Tribute still available for either team.
Is it weird if I told you that B-Step getting this tribute right now, it would actually be a disadvantage by a large amount right now? Because the Giants on bottom and Dahaka still hasn't rotated to clear those. it puts them in a position where even if they get the curse, they're going to buy so much time going to bottom just to get rid of that they lose legitimately a third of their curse in the process.
Yeah, but they can't send a Haka down there. They need all
Not
hands
anymore.
on deck, especially losing Zarya. Now they're at a 4v5. They may just have to give this tribute up at this point. Naventic are nearly 13. They got a kill. Varian's on his way back in.
Hashtag giant value. See where this goes. B-Step has to figure out something. They still have Sanctification. We didn't even get that used in the last game, but obviously being taunted and war brought to you is enough to make it difficult to be able to cast that spell. There's another attempt of initiation. Sulfura Smash off cooldown once more. Zarya transitioned to those Giants, got rid of them. So we'll see if Naventic moves in. Can they make the play here, or is there a delay enough? Oh, complete split on the side of Sergeant Hammer there.
Aggressive barrel roll from Biggie. He has Gust up if he needs. Sanctification used. Buying time, but King Caffeine still low. Sulfura Smash.
Sulfura Smash lands, so does the Drag though. Does it get any kills with the passive? Nope, not enough there. Expulsion Zone now. B-Kid's feeling the heat for a moment. Keep in mind, Naventic still up a man. Health bars higher overall for Naventic as well. But at least the Giants are not pressuring for B-Step, as we are having what I like to call the world's longest tribute. The Root, the Twilight Dream. 8 p.m. gets the kill. Now Kenma blinking out is going to, beautiful grenade on the side of K1 Pro is going to be able to secure that kill as well.
Max chasing.
Can they get
Where's
B-Kid?
Drag?
Not there. It turns out.
Dives back around just in the nick of time. That is a Banner of Stormwind for movement speed. Being dropped at 13. B-Step finally, after minutes and rotations of death timers, get a curse.
I just want to say shout out to B-Step for somehow ridding of a Giant Cap after like 3 minutes and still not losing that trip. Because I thought the minute they commit somebody, that being said, they could have missed all of that by rotating to Haka instantly when the Giant Cap was taken. But very well done. Falsa's gonna fly, not today, Bird. But he does have a barrel, and it turns out that's pretty good to escape. He's going to be fine for
As is
now.
movement speed from Zuna.
And this is going to be a siege attempt here for Hammer. So when you have Hammer, all right, Molten Core is going to be used, so then rotate to bottom then. So when you have Hammer at this point in the game, you pretty much are just mainly looking to pressure as much as you can, open all 3 forts. Mid won't die anymore because of that, but bottom will be able to fall. Boss will be at reasonable posture. Kenma doesn't have anything to blink to, except for that minion, but that's about the last one here. Good gust.
Oh, Biggie!
He's got something. There he goes. He's out.
Wow, Naventic making plays at least to save Brightwing.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you're like, all right, at least we didn't lose somebody, but then you're like, yeah, but we did use maybe more than you necessarily like.
Especially Gust, because this
Boss.
is a snap rotation for B-Step to go to Boss, or so I would have thought.
Oh, well, okay, because they didn't get a kill and they dragged so many people on the side of Naventic to Boss without 16, it's just a risk you shouldn't be taking. But yeah, you are right. Normally the route is the minute that finishes, push onto the bottom, rotate out to your Boss. It's just this one specifically is a high risk, almost no reward. But my goodness, that damage combo coming out, there's not enough to confirm. Sanct is going to be dropped though. Dahaka's nowhere to be found, so that Sanctification just buying time. So, I mean, if you have to take a heroic trade to be able to keep one person on your team alive, I'll take Gus all day, because that difference in heroic's cooldown timing is pretty significant.
Absolutely, and that was done just with a charge in Sulfura Smash, which again, Sulfura Smash has a shorter cooldown than Sanctification. So this is working out for Naventic. Oh, here we go, here we go.
There's going to be the boss play, the rotation. Sulfura Smash, for what it does and how big of a range and how easy it is to hit, probably has a shorter cooldown than almost every heroic in the game that does what it does.
That's what I was referencing with here we go. I knew exactly where you were going.
It's just, yeah, it's insane.
It is strong.
Yeah.
All right, trade out on bosses. Naventic get theirs. B-Step down in the bottom, grabbing the boss too, and so a trade from that. How is that going to work out? There's still a 4 for B-Step there, so it favors them that they're able to push along with their boss, but Falstad maybe could have stayed up there and then flown in if necessary to Gust to save his team or get the aggressive Gust, but yeah, that looks like what he wants to do.
So this siege is going to be Molten Cord, and I think that's the end of it. I don't see anything else happening other than a potential huge Gust play. So we'll look for the Molten Cord Gust play. We've seen one of that happen in Europe. It's pretty terrifying. Pretty much the easiest way to make sure your entire team gets hit by Molten Swing relatively easily. Dahaka clearing on top. Hammer's doing his thing. Post it up. Get him out, or siege up one more time. All right, there's the flight. There's the molten core, and let's see it connect. Bada bing,
Wing.
bada boom. It was a lot of whipperoon. Not quite what we were hoping for.
But they might still be able to make a fight happen here. Naventic on the chase. APM the target. Falstad goes down. Twilight Dream connects after the fact, but they still got the Falstad kill.
That's what we're calling it. Connects after the fact.
It would have connected
You're right.
had he not died.
You are 100% accurate. But this looks like it's going to be a keep now for B-Step. The fact that they were able to get one pick here. And Hammer turns out probably the best hero in the game when it comes to Siege. Warbringer is used. No keep yet. And Dream's going to walk up, napalm, and walk away probably.
Grenade.
There it is. That's it. The dot has it. And it is going to be a first keep of the game here for B-Step.
Using Holy Ground for the retreat too.
It's going to be a tribute as well. That's not good for Naventic. Putting tributes, falling behind a second tribute rotation and experience is one of the situations that's near irrecoverable at that point in time.
The nice thing for Naventic at least is they had a big push here in the mid. It did push the lane back a little bit, but Team Naventic are taking a little bit longer to get out into the lanes once again to soak, whereas B-Step are making all the right moves after getting that keep to try to get their way to level 20 Storm Talons.
There's going to be the combo used. Creepy dinosaur man is going back home. He's extinct once more. Good night to Haka.
For 45 seconds.
What does it gain, Naventic, though?
And that was
really?
even from a meteor, too.
Yeah. Talk about reenacting history. that's actually kind of terrible. He just killed the dinosaur with the only closest thing to a dinosaur and the closest thing to a meteor we have in the game. And in fact, oh man, that's tragic. Absolutely tragic.
But good for Naventic because they do buy some time to get back out on the map, clear out some waves, get a tribute, and catch up in experience. Heading into their level 20s, one tribute away now is Team Naventic trying to get Storm Tier talents.
This is such a, oh man, Naventic's in a fine position for a curse play. But, I don't know, curse play might be in their best interest, honestly. Just judging by the fact that they're even in structures and experience, looking to open up with the keep. I was just questioning if the 20 spike is something they want to make happen, or if they want to consider a little bit more with the bosses. It's actually timing your curse is very, very important on a curse solo, but I think it's going to be all right for them. They're even in experience, they're winning in structures. The next rotation, it's in their best interest probably to all in, as long as they're even footing. And we'll see if B-Step has any answer to Naventic so far. When it comes to the Warbringer taunt combo, outside of this standard cleanse, we don't really see any answer for them.
No, and Team Naventic are well and fine with using that combo, even with Sulfurous Smash, even if it's just on one, because they know that that sets them up for quite a long time where B-Step don't have that one person. And in that instance, taking out Dahaka limited a lot of the split soaking capabilities of B-Step. So now you look at the experience bar, and Naventic gets Storm Talon. They're at 20. B-Step is right behind. But B-Step has to try to contest here, or else Naventic will get that curse.
There's going to be one delay. 20 is now picked up. Taunt was used and very little damage used, so 11 seconds here. Where B-Step has the advantage. Looks like they are, in fact, not going to be able to net anything out of this yet. This is the 5 versus 5 we've been waiting for. Even talents. The posturing, as always. Oh, K1 Pro moving aggressively there. It gets all the damage blown right onto him. He ends up popping the self-shield. He's going to be just fine. That's Sulfurous Smash, Taunt, and Disintegrate use.
That was Cleanse as well, because it's not a cleansing shield for Zarya.
I still think that's the winning trade. Sulfurous Smash for anything as the follow-up is going to be huge. Does Cap go in with this? No, it looks like they're going to wait out another cycle here.
Mac is brush talked in. Trying to move in, see if he can catch someone with a drag.
If they buy time, it's technically in favor of B-Step, but only one catapult, it will be 2 or 3 by the time it makes it. Isn't enough yet for B-Step to be able to, be like, look at your core's dying. Please stop fighting us.
Nice job by Tom here. He was able to deny. Molten Core used now, and this is B-Step's opportunity, or well, want to move back, but a taunt, catch, sanctification. V-Kid nearly down, Gust away, but Varian gets taken out. And with a Twilight Dream, Brightwing does too.
I have no idea how he survived that outside of sanctification, but he was enough to get the heal. Now Thompster is on retreat. He's not going to matter either. Now Zuna, the sole Molten Core friend down here on the bottom, he's going to retreat, but that is going to be it. B-Step here. And a pretty convincing game, pretty close when it comes to kills, but overall, you know, Control very much felt like it was in their favor into this match against Naventic here. Gonna take game one.
Zuna's doing what he can. Soul Pure Smash jumps on top of iDream, realizing that that's the primary damage. What a drag.
I would cry a little bit. If Zuna did what we just saw Fan do, my mind would actually be blown in that situation. But in the end, it's just 100-0. It's going to be game one B-Step. Convincing as you thought, not as convincing. What did you think? We had our ideas, you know, about these teams before today, so.
I honestly thought that this was a possibly very close series, and I think that that first game reflected that.
Yeah, it's a lot closer than I expected. I do think B-Step, that being said, went for a little bit of creativity in their draft and maybe not complementing what it's so good at effectively very early on, which then put it to even footing, which is where, you know, Naventic, exactly what Naventic's composition wants, be even footing, hit 10, and look to initiate. So I agree. That being said, I feel like if B-Step plays what they're known for a little bit better, I think it might be a little bit more lopsided.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Naventic deals with the pick comps, if that's what we have from B-Step. But for now, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we'll have game number 2.